Rural America is rising in revolt. The very heartland that once stood as Donald Trump's most loyal base is now droning in betrayal. From the sweeping cornfields of Iowa to the dairy farms of Wisconsin, small farmers are speaking out, not with chants, but with shuttered barns, auction tractors, and bankrupt dreams. Why? Because of Trump's aggressive new tariffs, which many now say are turning a slow bleed into a devastating collapse. America's agricultural backbone, especially in key states like Iowa, has long relied on global trade, and none more than with economic giants like China. But in a world where trade deals are more political weapon than economic strategy, China has found new partners, leaving US farmers behind. How long can these rural communities withstand the fallout before they vanish altogether? Is Trump really putting America first, or just leaving its farmers last? Before we dig deeper into this crisis, don't forget to subscribe to the African Web, where we bring global insights and stories that challenge the headlines. The original trade war under Trump began in 2018, but this latest phase has proven even more brutal. Back then, tariffs were painted as a patriotic defense against unfair trade. In practice, they became an economic sledgehammer, especially for farmers. China, once America's largest agricultural buyer, responded quickly and forcefully. Soybeans, the golden crop of the Midwest, were the first target. Exports to China dropped nearly 80% during the first round, and the numbers now are even more devastating. Farms across the nation started to fall like dominoes. Bankruptcies surged. Storage bins sat filled with unsold grains. Buyers turned away, and global competitors were quick to seize the opportunity. Countries like Brazil didn't just fill the gap, they expanded it. In the time it took US leaders to double down on failed policies, Brazil became China's top soybean partner, pushing American farmers further out of global relevance. Despite years of economic pain, many rural farmers stayed loyal, trusting Trump's message that short-term loss would lead to long-term gain. But those promises now ring hollow. The renewed tariffs have reignited tensions with China and other key trading nations, just when many farms were barely recovering. This time there is no illusion, only consequences. Brazil's dominance continues. Its agricultural exports to China now outpace the US in nearly every major crop. American farmers, meanwhile, find themselves locked out of the very markets they once led. The latest round of tariffs has escalated what was already a fragile situation, with no clear plan for relief. The loyalty of rural America is being tested, and for many, it's snapping. The impact hasn't been equal. While massive corporate farms manage to weather the storm, it's the small and minority-owned farms that face the full force of this crisis. Bailout packages under the original trade war favored the biggest players, often leaving smaller operations with crumbs. The same pattern is emerging once again. Many small farms have already shut down, unable to compete or cover soaring costs. Family farms that survived for generations are being auctioned off. The dream of independent farming is collapsing under the weight of economic policy, while conglomerates grow stronger. For minority-owned and women-led farms, which already face structural disadvantages, the blow has been especially cruel. The export crisis has now widened beyond soybeans. Pork, rice, and even corn exports are being cancelled at alarming rates. Deals once signed in advance are now quietly slipping away. As global buyers lose confidence in the US as a reliable supplier, they're turning to nations with fewer political risks, like Argentina and Thailand. Meanwhile, domestic input costs continue to rise. Seeds, fertilizers, and equipment repairs are all getting more expensive. Some farmers have delayed planting altogether, fearing they won't break even. In a business where timing and predictability are everything, the uncertainty has become lethal. It's not just crops. America's beef, dairy, and livestock sectors are also under siege. As foreign markets shut their doors, these industries are left with excess supply. That oversupply is crashing prices, meaning farmers are now selling below the cost of production. Milk that once brought in a steady income now barely covers feed. Beef prices at the supermarket remain high, but the ranchers who raise the cattle are getting less than ever. Without reliable exports, there's nowhere for the surplus to go, and the market is collapsing from the inside out. Back in the early years of Trump's trade war, the government issued large bailout payments to soften the blow. But this time, that cushion is gone. No new bailout is on the horizon. The USDA is already forecasting one of the worst income years for farmers in modern history. With no safety net, many farms are forced to take out loans they can't repay. Some are liquidating assets. Others are simply walking away, unable to keep up with interest payments or rising debt. And still, no clear federal plan exists to support these families. In Washington, the response has been mixed and politically divisive. Some lawmakers defend the tariffs as tough on China policy, hailing them as necessary leverage. Others criticize them as economically suicidal and damaging to America's reputation. But while politicians argue and deflect blame, farmers suffer in silence and insolvency. Global trading partners are making long-term shifts and strategic realignments. They are investing in logistics and agricultural partnerships with Brazil, India, and Southeast Asia, building alternatives. The US, once seen as a reliable supplier of high-quality goods, is now viewed as politically unstable and economically risky. Rebuilding that trust won't happen overnight, if it happens at all under current leadership. The visible signs of collapse are everywhere and impossible to ignore. Empty storefronts in rural towns, school closures that hurt education, mental health crisis mounting in farming families. Every time a small farm shuts down, a local economy loses its anchor and community identity. And as consolidation accelerates, rural America becomes less diverse, less independent, and more corporatized by powerful agribusinesses. Minority and female-led farms, already underrepresented in federal assistance programs, are disappearing fastest from the landscape. This loss isn't just economic, it's cultural and generational. The soul of rural America is being stripped away by policies made far from the soil they impact, with little regard for those actually tilling the land. The message from farmers is growing louder. Enough is enough, seriously. They're tired of being pawns in a global chess match filled with broken strategies. They're tired of waiting for broken promises to pay off or hoping for aid that never arrives. And most of all, they're tired of being ignored by the very politicians who claim to speak for them in campaign speeches. There's a growing sense that the political machine has turned its back on rural America entirely. And now, that rebellion is no longer quiet. It's in the headlines. It's on the auction blocks. It's in the boarded-up homes of families who were once the backbone of this nation, reduced to economic casualties. Will Washington finally listen before it's too late and irreversible damage is done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Has rural America truly been betrayed? Or is this just a painful chapter in a long-term strategy with delayed rewards? And don't forget to subscribe to the African Web for more deep dives into global politics, economics, and the stories the mainstream won't tell, stories that matter.